So good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Custom Presses and Capabilities webinar, and also happy Friday. My name is Tasha Weston. I'm a marketing specialist working with the Custom Products Group. And then also with me I have Pete Creasy, who's the Global Business and Development Leader for Custom Products. So today we will be covering, we'll start out with an Enerpac overview, go over some of our standard offerings for presses just as a refresher. Then we'll cover some of our custom capabilities and some application examples for you of our presses. And then lastly, we'll go over how to submit a request for a custom press online, and then end with Q&A. So if you have any questions throughout the webinar, feel free to enter them into the chat pane and send them directly to me. And at the end of the presentation, we can also answer questions then. So as you know, Enerpac is a global market leader in high-pressure hydraulic tools, controlled force products and solutions for precise positioning of heavy loads for a bunch of different applications. But also we are here for you when you have these specific needs, so we can supply custom products and solutions to meet those unique needs. So today is an example of some of our training we have for our distributors. We also have our Enerpac Academy service and sales training, on-site product training, as well as bolting vans. So we have a wide range of offerings. So first today we'll cover our standard offering, so we'll go over the C-clamp, Arbor, bench, H-frame, and roll frame press, and then we'll go into our custom capabilities. So first off, we have our C-clamp. It's an open frame that can be positioned around an object that needs to be pressed. So it's the one right here. And then on the other side, we have our Arbor presses. They also have a C-frame, but these ones can be mounted vertically or horizontally, for example, on a workbench. So for our C-clamp, it can come in 5, 10, or 20-ton presses. And then for the Arbor press, it's standard for them to come for 10 or 30 tons. So here are some examples of applications for the C-clamp and Arbor press. So you can see the open frame allows you to use it for a bunch of different applications. Next, we'll cover the bench press. So it has 10-ton capacity only. It's bench top mounted fixed frame press, and it's used with our RC 10-ton cylinders. So we have two different sets for bench presses. You can see here, like we said, they're both 10 tons. The difference is if you want to have an air pump or a hand pump. Once again, here's another application photo of our bench press. Now we'll move into our industrial presses, the IP series. So we have our H-frame and our roll frame press. For our H-frame press, the standard sizes are 10, 25, 30, 50, 100, 150, and 200 tons. So these can be ordered standard or custom configured, which we'll go over in a little bit. And then next we have our roll frame press. This one has a little bit less for the standard sizes for tons, 50, 100, and 200 tons. Same thing, it can be ordered standard or custom configured. So some of the benefits of the roll frame press is that you're able to place the load down and then roll the frame over to go on top over the load. So the bench will stay stationary, but you're able to move the frame back and forth. Some of our standard accessories, we have V-blocks, which can help with positioning pipes and bars. Just note that only the A110 for the 10-ton bench press only includes one V-block. The rest comes with two. We also have our cylinder mounting block. You can see it down here. So it converts the press to be able to hold a pump next to it. Oh, that's the wrong one, sorry. The pump mounting bracket, sorry, is an example down here. then we have a cylinder mounting block as well. And then our hydrolift, which you can see right here. So it helps you make daylight adjustments easily. You just have to put the chain in to hold it in place and then use the pump to move it up and down and adjust the daylight. So within the catalog, you can see how you can configure a custom press to your needs. So that will include the cylinder, and the pump is typically ordered separately. So you can see a breakdown of where this first part for one is the product type, for example, IP for an industrial press. 2 is the frame type. For this example, it can be H for H-frame or R for roll frame. 3rd is the press capacity. 4 is the cylinder type, whether it's single or double acting. 5 is the cylinder stroke. And then 6 is the optional part if you want to include a pump mounting kit. So now that we've covered our standard offering and our custom configured offering, we'll go into our more custom capabilities.
I'll cover the custom capabilities. So just generally speaking, at Enerpac, so in-house we have capabilities to do quite a few different custom products aside from presses. You can do cylinders, pumps, bolting products, and complete turnkey solutions. In-house capabilities we have from an engineering standpoint are structural design, mechanical engineering, electrical, and hydraulic. We do in-house manufacturing, testing, and have full quality control on all our custom presses. One of the many requests we get on custom presses, aside from adjusting daylights and capacities, are safety and automation. And these are areas that we can accommodate customers with different controls options, be it simple as two-hand anti-tie down, but we can also do full PLC controls with touch screen interface and also wireless controls. We've done automated part positioning systems and sensing, as well as guarding custom power units with valve banks to actuate all the different components of the press, and also custom cylinders if, for example, the press will require embedded stroke or load sensing capabilities in the cylinder itself. So aside from our standard press offering, we just wanted to give you a little bit of an overview of some examples of different custom presses we've done, in hopes that helps generate some ideas for you and your customers. This particular press is one we did for Rockwell Automation. It was in combination with our sister company, Milwaukee Cylinder, who makes NFPA-style tie rod cylinders. You can see that hanging at the top of the press. Basically, it's a much larger H-frame press with 80 inches of vertical daylight, and the cylinder has about 5 feet of stroke. It has custom load cells, custom power unit, and controls. You can see the control box off to the left of the press there. And off in front of the press, you can see a little pedestal where the operator can actuate it with two-hand anti-tie down buttons. Primary use for this press is pressing in bearings, bushings, basically doing maintenance on an assembly of large electric motors. Next press, this is for a customer called FMC. They're in the offshore oil and gas industry. They needed a press to be able to assemble these large valve components, and basically it looks like a cylinder. That's the orange thing sitting on the press there, but it has 2 very large coil springs. This was primarily driven from a safety need. So the operator can set the valve body on that black table, load the coil springs and then the gland at the top, and then the controls actually shuttle the part forward underneath the press, and then the press head can be adjusted down. What's kind of unique about this one is that cylinder, and you can kind of see it there in black. It's a 100-ton capacity cylinder, and it has an automatic mechanical locking feature. So it has a Acme thread on the cylinder rod and a gear-driven lock nut. So as the cylinder is pressing the spring down, it has a lock nut that's constantly spinning. So in the event of some type of a hydraulic failure, everything is held mechanically in place and the spring force is contained. So once it's pressed down, then the operator has the ability to get over there and turn the gland nut down. So it's, everything on this particular project was custom, from the press to the cylinder, the power unit, and the controls. That one also happened to have a wireless control system as well. This press is a custom roll frame press. Customer needed added capacity, so even though our standard roll frame presses go up to 200 tons, this is an example of what a 300-ton capacity roll frame press would look like. So dimensionally, it's got a very long bed. This particular customer, General Tool, was using it to straighten out large fabrications. Because the press is so large, typically the roll frame press, a lot of the actuation of the press components is manual, but in this case we needed to add automation. So towards the front of the bed there, you can see an electric drive motor. There's a large Acme screw thread. It's a big mechanical actuator. So with electric controls, you can drive the frame of the press along the press bed. If you can see by the cylinder itself, there's a horizontal black line, it looks like. That's also a mechanical actuator, and that's to adjust the cylinder from left to right on the press frame. And then the operator can basically move the press where needed and then actuate the cylinder to do the straightening operation. Next one is a C-frame press, where a customer needed to punch some holes. They had a large order. Customer's name is Fabricated Metal Products, where they had to basically punch 3 holes in this steel tube channel. And how they were doing it is with 3 different operations and drilling those holes, but because they had to do so many, they needed a more efficient option. So what we did was come up with a punch press that could basically punch 3 holes in one. Also has a guide system on there, so the tube can be slid over the punch press, and then the guide would center the tube underneath the presses. The whole thing was hung from a counterbalance device to lighten the load so the operator could handle it manually. Next press, this is another custom press. It kind of started off as a 200-ton H-frame press. It got much wider. This was for the University of Pittsburgh, and they're basically using it to test a fracking operation. So they have a 1 foot by 1 foot, basically a cube of granite, and they would frack it with the hydraulics and have a high visibility die within the granite to determine kind of the best possible angle for the fracture to travel through the natural fissures of the granite. So kind of a unique operation, weird looking press, but you basically had 5 200-ton cylinders. So in each of those, it looks like a structure inside the press. You can see on the back end those 4 holes. That's the back end of the cylinder. So each of those has a cylinder, plus the top of the press has a cylinder in it as well. The next one, this is for Caterpillar, also another unique press application. Caterpillar uses these large, they call them cartridges. You can see it loaded in the press there. And these are basically the pin joints for their bucket loaders. So how these pin joints are assembled is you have a solid pin. They come in different lengths, so the press had to accommodate different heights, and you can see a small holding bracket there. They would build it up to the height, and then each pin would have a collar slipped over the top of it, and there's seals between the collars. And then how the operation worked is the operator would start the cycle. The collar would shuttle underneath the press. The press had a large 1,500-ton capacity custom cylinder with only about 2 inches of stroke. There was a laser in there, and the laser would take a measurement at the top of that collar. The cylinder would come down and press that whole pin structure and then release it. And basically what would happen is they would compress it in the elastic limit of the pin. When the pin relaxed, it would pull those steel collars out a little bit. And there was a certain tolerance they had to hold, and it was within 0.5 millimeter. So the laser would take another reading, and when that collar moved 0.5 millimeter, then the part was considered good. It could come out of the press. So the guarding doors was actuated, the part loading was actuated. We did all the controls along with the laser, and it's a large 4 post press. Very tall. It's about 15 feet tall, and they use this in their assembly plant. Another one is for a company called Allclad. They make cookware, and they needed a very high capacity press used in a lamination process for making their cookware. So what you see here, it's got 4 large links with pins and a custom cylinder, and this cylinder is a 4,000 ton capacity cylinder. I think this is probably one of the largest presses we ever made. It's operated with a large Enerpac 80 series pump. You can kind of see it there in the picture, along with some custom controls. So this photo was taken. This was fabricated at our facility in the Netherlands, and this photo was taken in our yard where we do all our full load testing for these large structures. Next one is another 300-ton roll frame press. One of the many requests we get for the roll frame presses is because the bed is stationary, the frame has to roll along the bed. In standard configuration, that frame is a manual operation. So it rides on some bearings, and the operator grabs the frame and basically pulls it or pushes it along the press bed to position it. Once the operator has the frame where they want it, they can operate some hydraulic jacks that lock the frame in place, and then you can press with the main pressing cylinder. And that works okay for the standard sizes, but when you get into larger sizes, in this case it's a 300-ton capacity, it's a wider bed, it's a larger frame, it gets a little bit heavy to move. So one of the things we do quite routinely, not only on the customs but also on the standard, is we'll outfit them with rodless air cylinders on the side of the bed. You can see that in the smaller embedded photograph there. Simple manual valve, and basically the carriage that rides along that rodless air cylinder is positioned between the uprights of the press frame. So as that carriage moves forward or back, it basically pulls or pushes the press frame along the bed, and it's just a kind of a simple modification that makes it more ergonomic to use the presses. Our sister company, as I mentioned earlier, is Milwaukee Cylinder. Milwaukee Cylinder specializes in NFPA-style tie rod cylinders, which are very well suited for high cycle and production applications. One thing we've been starting to do with them is make these special automated type presses for testing, material testing, and also precision assembly. You can see here in the diagram, basically you have a cylinder with a servo valve on it. The cylinder also has an embedded load sensor and stroke sensor in the cylinder itself. So with the motion control system and the control system, we can actually get very high accuracy and repeatability with the cylinder. So if you're doing any type of real precision work and testing work, this is a great opportunity. So one of the things, for example, the travel repeatability is within 0.001 inches. If you look at the force repeatability, we can repeat force within 0.01%. And the velocity control of the cylinder can also be controlled within that 0.01%. So, aside from doing large steel structures for, assembly or testing type work, we can do some pretty refined, high precision type press work as well. Another nice C-frame application. In this case, it's not punching holes in this extruded aluminum. This is one of our customers in Germany, but they actually had to press in bushings. This manufacturer makes large tent structures made out of extruded aluminum. So it's in their fabrication facility. And they also have this on a counterbalance device so the operator can manually hold the press, and it has a small Enerpac 10-ton cylinder, and they just move it along the channel and press in these bushings. And then the last example is another large steel structure, in this case a customer in Norway, and they basically needed a press for doing work on axle rods. They do quite a bit in mining and energy and oil and gas. This is a 300-ton capacity press. So one of the unique things that they wanted on their press is the ability to operate it not only in a traditional vertical application, but they also wanted to be able to lay it down and operate it horizontally. So this press actually has the option where it can be tilted from vertical to horizontal. I'll turn it back to Tasha to give you some idea on if you have a customer interested in requesting a quote for a custom press, how to go about doing that.
All right. So here you can see a screenshot from our website of how you can request a custom pump. So you can go to enerpac.com/custom. You can type that directly in. Otherwise, if you go to our website and you go to products, and then we have custom products and solutions, you can get to it that way as well. So either way will work. So then you click onto custom presses. You can see our other product groups as well. So within the custom presses landing page, you can see some of the different custom options that are out there, and some examples as well. So then to get to the form, you click custom press request. And then here you fill out the contact information. Up top, you can see what's required with the stars. We tried to keep it pretty limited just so distributors or customers don't get too overwhelmed with all the required fields. But definitely just try to get as much information as you can up front just so the quoting process can go a little bit more seamlessly. So you're able to upload files as well. And then there's some more information that can be added. You can go into control or guarding requirements. And then if there's something up here that you didn't see, feel free to add it into the comments section. And then it gets submitted to our team. We review it and get a quote back to you. So once you submit it, you'll get an email letting you know that it has been submitted appropriately. And that someone from our team will be getting back to you shortly. So that concludes our webinar on custom presses and our different capabilities. We have a couple of upcoming distributor sales trainings you can see below. I'm going to unmute the lines now to see if anyone has any questions.
The conference has been unmuted.
Any questions from anyone? Okay.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for attending and have a lovely weekend.